Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Brockopp side, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Pizza Time. Yeah, the first episode was back in July, and that was just me by my lonesome talking about Ready Player One. But this time, I actually have another physical human being in the room with me.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Yes, I'm joined with my friend Noah from Cracked Vlogs, and you might know him as Stranger Tricks. This is more, I guess,
Vaping side. I don't
famous
know.
persona.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, we were just talking the other day about, different videos we can make on my channel, because we've collabed on yours quite a bit. And, I've been wanting to start making more of these kind of videos, just kind of having a more casual, movie talk. Just,
Yeah, a little nice eating session. Talk about movies,
Yeah, just a little more casual, less formal, we just eat pizza, talk movies.
I love it.
Yeah, and since Creed 2 finally comes out in the middle of the week, as Thanksgiving's next week, and no one's gonna go to the movies on a Thursday when people are eating food and
I know.
shopping for doorbuster deals. So I got to thinking maybe we should do one on Creed, because you, sir, have never seen Creed.
It's true.
Okay, have you seen any of the Rocky movies?
Now, now I haven't. I'm sorry. You guys are gonna hate me for it. Okay, don't want to hear it in the comments, but...
Okay, so that's what we're here for, but first of all,
Cool.
Shame on you.
Ow.
So let me just give you a quick little rundown of how the Rocky movies and now the Creed movies go. So if you just pay attention to my diagram here.
Oh, that's nice.
The Rocky films can be broken down into two different categories. The one is the more grounded character film. This is, things are a little bit slower. It's more of like a study of character than story. So it's more of an indie feel to them.
Okay.
And then you have the super macho 80s movies with the steroid-heavy opponents and, the 80s rock music and all that. So under the grounded, you got Rocky, Rocky 2, Rocky Balboa, which is Rocky 6, and Creed.
And Creed, okay.
And then on the macho side, you have Rocky 3 and 4. And then somewhere weirdly in the middle is Rocky 5, but...
It's not on either side, it's just...
Yeah, it's like they tried to do a little bit of both with that one, but it doesn't really matter because Rocky 5 sucks anyhow. So here we're enjoying this very high quality $3 Tony's pizza from Walmart. Yeah.
Check that out, man.
Yeah, this cheese is paler than my skin.
Cody. I'm gonna take another bite of this one.
Yeah, man, it's like, one of my professors joked that, because we're both, like, super white dudes, that, if some of the other classmates went to, like, Aruba or something on a vacation, they're gonna get a nice tan, but for us, it's gonna be skin cancer, because we're so pale. But anyway, I couldn't help but notice also our glasses are a little empty.
I'm getting
So
parched now.
So we're gonna fill it up with this quality
Where did that
ginger ale in my ass.
Where did you get that from?
Gotta get fancier with it, otherwise, what's the point?
Okay.
So I'm just gonna...
You got tilted, Cody. You got tilted.
Yeah.
And then
Alright, if you spill it, you're buying me a new side table.
You got it, boss.
They're like $8 at Walmart. Oh, fuck.
Oh, no, okay, that was your fault. That was
Alright.
not my fault.
I've been needing to have a new one anyway. It's more disappointing than pouring a beer, Jesus.
It was like, come on, let's go.
Alright, just top that shit off.
Top it off, top it off.
Top my shit off. And now I'm gonna go put this in the mystical refrigerator right off camera. Okay, so.
Let's get it. Get it one time.
Yep.
Can we just enjoy, please, the Christmassy look to this?
Hey, tis the season, man.
I love it, man.
It's good shit. So, yeah, now that we just got done actually watching Creed, I've seen it a few times, it's all in the theater, so I really enjoyed it. But this was your first time,
It was my first time seeing it.
How'd you like it?
I thought it was a good movie. I like these kind of movies that are like, it takes you on for the ride, and this movie definitely took me on for the ride, starting with all the way from childhood, all the way going through till... the very end where he, made his standing out point, I love it.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah, so I think this movie does a pretty good job of explaining what you need to know about past Rocky movies in order to enjoy this one. So, but just to give you a little bit more background, so Adonis Creed, played by Michael B. Jordan, is the illegitimate child of Apollo Creed, who started out kind of as Rocky's opponent in the first two films, but they kind of slowly became friends and best friends and all that. So then Apollo trained Rocky in Rocky 3, and then in Rocky 4, Apollo went up against Ivan Drago and died in the ring. So Rocky kind of fought Ivan Drago to avenge Apollo Creed's death. So that's where the whole, Rocky should have saved his life kind of thing. So Rocky feels guilty about that, and that's where, some of those emotions kind of come up in the movie,
I see that
of him,
happening.
of him being kind of angry that Rocky, didn't drop the towel, so to speak, as he was in his corner. So Michael B. Jordan as Adonis Creed. Of course, Michael B. Jordan's a fantastic actor. So before this, in 2015, he also played Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch, in the super classic Fan Four Stick film, and he was the highlight of that movie. And now he got to play this one, which I think was definitely a better use of his talents than, Fan Four Stick. And he was also in Chronicle, which is a found footage movie directed by Josh Trank, and I thought he was great in that as well. So I think I've been a big fan of Michael B. Jordan for a long time, and I think this is probably his best role to date.
It was really good. I liked watching him in this, going through from all the way from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, I mean, he was determined, but he was also young and reckless, and, he's trying to...
He had that bad childhood, and he used that,
Yeah, he's got kind of like
life,
it's like he thinks he's the big man kind of thing, but it's like he still has a lot to learn,
Yeah.
but he's willing to, and I think that's part of the charm of it. And, he brings such emotion to the scenes when need be, when he's in the jail cell, he's at his lowest point, he's mad at the whole world, and he really sucks me into pretty much every performance he does. And did you recognize him from Black Panther too? He was
right. He was
Killmonger.
Killmonger. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't really see him as Killmonger. I saw him as this world class, gonna be, fighting guy.
Yeah.
You just steal my...
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that this series is continuing, though, because I feel like Michael B. Jordan is just one of those actors that needed a franchise.
Yeah.
Because in Black Panther, he died at the end of it, and Fan Four Stick, that movie died like halfway through production, so I'm glad he's finally getting to play a character that we're gonna actually see again. Rocky Balboa has always been like the most likable movie character ever. He's so charming and down to earth, and somebody that
let me get a
it's like he's somebody that will walk a girl down the street, get away from these shady characters, and try to help them out in some way. It's like he's just an all around good guy, and in later Rocky movies when he got really famous, the fame it kind of took over a tiny bit, but not really. So he was always this great, humble character. Except in Rocky V, they kind of screwed him up a little bit there, but we don't talk about that movie. So
I gotta find out now.
So, and he's always been kind of a tragic character too, because he came from absolutely nothing. He got to rise up. He got his title taken away a couple times. He got super famous. He lost all his money. And then his best friend Paulie died. His wife Adrian died. So he just kind of all alone.
Right.
So and now on top of this, in this movie, we find out he's got cancer.
Ugh.
So now he's
I was sad to see it. I was sad to say it, but it put a nice feel to the movie, honestly, because the fighter had something to go for, and something that in his back of his mind, kind of gave him like a leeway into, oh, I got this in the back of my head, but I'm trying to achieve this, but I'm not this person that's gonna achieve this first. I'm worried about you.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
Yeah, and for someone like me who's seen every single Rocky movie, it's something, it really hit me in the doctor's office scene when the doctor was saying, we should do chemotherapy and all that, and then he just sits there going, my wife tried that and it didn't work. It's like, that almost made me tear up in the theater when I heard that line, because I'm like, oh, Rocky, I feel so bad for you, man, but,
right.
And also, I like how he went from being more, he went from being the main protagonist to the mentor to the new protagonist, because this is the first Rocky movie where he doesn't, physically fight with his fists at all.
Yeah, he took a step back and he had to, calm down.
I like seeing him as this mentor character, and I really hope to see more of him in Creed 2. And I just think I think what they're doing is really good with Rocky, especially since this movie was not Sylvester Stallone's idea. It was actually Ryan Coogler's idea. He basically came to Sylvester Stallone saying, hey, I've got this great idea of how to continue the Rocky franchise. Granted, I think probably Sylvester Stallone had a couple of notes here and there to make sure it sounded like Rocky, but I think the writing this character that we've seen so many times from a different, set of hands on the keyboard.
Different standpoint.
Yeah, I think it worked really well, and also just pushed the movie forward, into the modern day, and just made it, it was really well written. That's what I'm trying to say. You
Right.
know? Yeah. So in this movie, Tessa Thompson plays Bianca. You know, his love interest, for lack of a better term. So what'd you think of her?
Oh, she was good. It's funny how she came from like this girl that it seemed like she was this badass girl, but she was just this love, caring girl that sings really well, and you know, and he felt an interest to her from all the singing, and I loved her in the movie.
Yeah. So and she's definitely like the foil to Rocky's wife, Adrian, who you know, continuity-wise passed away, but the actress is still alive. But we got to see their relationship blossom over the course of the first 5 Rocky movies. And in those movies, Adrian, his wife, was more reserved, very quiet, very shy. You know, her older brother was always kind of oppressing her, you know, thinking she's not going to be anything, and Rocky saw the beauty in her, and, you know, they fell in love, had a couple kids, and then 5 more movies happened.
Ooh la la.
So I like that they didn't go that exact route with the love interest in this movie, because this is kind of like, you know, this is
The
basically
nick into the door.
yeah, it's basically a reboot of the Rocky franchise, but in universe, which I appreciate. So it's got a lot of similarities between the first Rocky movie, because both stories are underdog movies about, you know, these low-level boxers with potential that, you know, these really big-time boxers, Apollo Creed and Rick Connolly. Yeah. So it's like these two, they see, you know, their titles and all that, and they're like, hey, let's fight this lower class guy, you know, and they both have their own reasons, and, you know, of course there's training, and they both actually, Rocky and Creed, end up not winning their respective fights in their first movies, so it's kind of a remake of the first Rocky, but a more modernized version. So, but I think going that route was good for the first film.
You know, ease into it. You know, he builds up the character, and then the actual fight.
Yeah. Yep. So, what'd you think of the fights in this movie?
All of them. Let's just talk about the camera work first. The camera work is very well done. I like how the camera was far back. You know, and you could see every shot, every punch, where it was coming from and everything. I hate the movies that the camera's right into that person's face and you can't see, you know, where everything is coming from. It's just, oh my gosh, I need to slow down, you know? And that was well done. You know, I like how the trainers, I know for a fact that this movie, it took a while to film every single one of these fight sequences, you know, and training for the movie, you know, it's just, it's really well done. I loved it.
Yeah, and yeah, I think Ryan Coogler, the director, did a fantastic job of directing the movie, shooting it, and how about that first, you know, real fight that it was all one continuous take? You know, that kind of thing takes a lot of practice and a lot of, you know, actor blocking and things like that. You know, it's one of those things that stands out amongst the rest of the movie, and I think it's what makes it more memorable, because it's like, whoa, the camera, there are no cuts here.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's really good.
Yeah, it was. I liked the entire thing actually too. I saw it, and you told me about it too, which was thank you so much. You know, and I realized it, and I was like, wow, this probably took a long time as well to make. You know, think about it, all the time they had to prepare for each fight, and they got this going on. You know, of like what it's about 3 minutes of just not stopping, blocking, and you know, recording. You know. Saying it again, like starting from the beginning all the way to the end, I really liked how the movie dragged on and pulled you into it, you know. So when the final fight happened and the final thing was going on, you know, it was like, oh my god, I'm on the edge of my seat. You know, I literally said I'm on the edge of my seat. You know?
And you literally were too.
I literally said.
I just looked over. I'm like, oh wow, you're actually on the edge of your seat.
Yeah,
right now.
I wanted to see, you know, what was gonna happen because of all this buildup, you know. And I love how this movie did it without dragging and dragging and dragging, you know.
Yeah. So, going back to the chart for a second, the more grounded character piece Rocky films, they're more of a slow burn like this movie was. It's not just trying to throw as much testosterone at you as it can. This movie, like those movies, wants you to get to know the main character more, get to know them as a person, get to know their relationships, and then see them train and, you know, rise up to the occasion of fighting this, you know, heavyweight champion. So I think that was a good approach to go here because, you know, as much as I'd like, you know, the more macho ones, you know, the more grounded Rocky films connect with me and a lot of other people a lot more because of those things, because you actually care about Adonis Creed and you want to see him succeed. You're not just there to see a bunch of muscly baby oil dripping dudes punch each other for an hour and a half.
Yeah, right.
So
Go to the gym if you want to see that.
Yeah. And one other thing I also love about this is the soundtrack, because the music just feels like it feels a lot more epic in scale than for something more grounded like this. You know, the Rocky films have always had a great soundtrack to them. Some of the most iconic songs ever are the Rocky theme and Eye of the Tiger. And I just love how it feels like you're going to war or something with this music. And I think it just brought the excitement up when need be, especially in that final training sequence when Adonis is running down the street and the
all
bikers are...
and yeah.
It's like, it got my heart pumping, really.
Yeah. And that camera work, too, is really well. Like, they were, like, you know, dragging that camera all the way around him. You know, not once, not twice, but, like, 3 or 4 times. You know, getting you pumped for this. You know, like I said, it's getting you up, building up to it, but not, you know, dragging along, you know?
How's that pizza treating you?
Pizza's doing good. Doing good. I have one left. It's doing really well. I'm glad you had ranch here, because if not, you know.
Yeah, I was honestly kind of afraid you did not do that, because I do that a lot, and I like it. And some people judge people who do that. I'm like, leave me the fuck alone. I will have my ranch dressing.
Yeah, it's my food.
There was no pineapple on this, okay? So back off.
If I want to put ketchup on my pizza, I'm going to put ketchup on my pizza.
You sick fuck.
I knew it. And I don't use ketchup for everyone to know. It's just ranch, guys. Just ranch.
So now that this is your first time into the world of the Rocky franchise, you officially lost your Rocky virginity, so to speak.
Oof, I feel weird.
So, does this movie make you want to go back and watch the other ones?
I have to say, it doesn't want me... I don't want to go back too far and watch it. I want to go back maybe one... and watch the, you know, where this movie came from. But how much you want to bet? When I watched the one before that, I'm gonna want to go back and back, you know. But it's gotten me really pumped for the one that's coming out, you know. Like, I really want to see it now.
I don't think you'd want to go back just one movie, because you know, Apollo Creed is already dead by that time. So I think it'd be best to actually go back to the very beginning, because this is where Apollo Creed was introduced. This is basically This is basically the movie that's a movie that started it all.
Thank you.
And then Rocky 2 is when they have a rematch.
Take this too.
See, and then yeah.
I'm looking at it.
Yeah, admire it. And then Rocky 3 is where they don't, you know, go up against each other, but Apollo helps Rocky and they become true best friends by, you know, training together and all of that.
He's a little bit younger.
Yeah, a little bit. But then Rocky 4 is the one where he actually dies. So I think that would definitely be an important one to watch, because it's going to play heavily into the next Creed movie. And then Rocky Balboa really doesn't have much to do with Creed himself, but I think it's really good. Some people, you know, had some mixed feelings about that, but I think it's one of the better Rocky movies. So I know kind of where I rank this movie amongst the other films, but since you've only seen this one, what would you rate this one?
I think I'd rate it about... I think I'd rate it a 7. It was really good. I would see it again. The only reason why it wasn't an 8, 9, or 10 is because how do I put this? I feel like the ending should add a little bit more of, like, oomph to it. I don't know how to say it even more, but, like, maybe, like, you know, them moving into a bigger house, you know, and then, like, sitting at a dinner table, you know, that kind of ending. They kind of pan away, you know, something like that. I mean, I like the ending, but I wish it had a little, you know, kick to it, you know?
Well, I kind of disagree on that part, because I think it actually does have some oomph to it, but it's kind of something you got to be a little more seasoned in these movies to be appreciative of. No offense,
right? Because I haven't watched the other ones.
Because those steps that, you know, Rocky and Adonis walked up at the end are some very famous steps, pretty much almost from these movies alone. Because in the first movie, when he's, you know, in his big training montage, he runs up those steps victoriously. It's one of the most iconic movie scenes ever. He does it again in the second movie, and in the third movie, he actually gets a statue built up there, which actually got moved in real life and continuity wise. So it's more of a nostalgia thing. So I understand why maybe you wouldn't think it had that much oomph to it.
But it really did, per se.
Yeah, I think it's something, if you watch and appreciate the other films, I think it's something you would enjoy more a second time around if you know, go and watch the other ones.
I might steal those from you.
Yeah, you can borrow them. I'm planning to upgrade them all to Blu-ray come Black Friday, so...
Oh, nice.
So yeah, if you want to borrow them, be my guest.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna take this last bite of this pizza. This is my last one.
Alright, wow, you really devoured yours. I still got one left.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I've been doing so much talking, it's kind of hard to... I don't want to be like... "Ah." So I guess if I were to kind of rank these movies, so I think I would go Rocky, Rocky 2, Creed, Rocky Balboa, 3, 4, and 5.
Okay.
And I'm really looking forward to Creed 2, which comes out in a couple of days.
I'd like to see that.
And what I think is going to be interesting about that one is that it's going to kind of... It's going to take pages from both sides of the Rocky spectrum here, because it's going to... it's probably going to still keep, be more tonally in line with the character piece, but since Creed's going to be going up against Ivan Drago's son, so it's the next generation of one of the more macho movies, Rocky 4, so I'm really looking forward to that.
So you think it's going to be like down here in the column, you think?
I think it's going to be more on this side of things.
So like this way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more tonally consistent with this, because Rocky 5 was just a disaster town, I'm sorry to say it, except for the ending. The ending is really good there, but so it'll just be kind of interesting, and I'm also looking forward to seeing Rocky and Ivan Drago have a little bit of a reunion, because they didn't become friends or anything after they fought like Apollo and Rocky did, so they've always been kind of enemies and all that, and of course there was that scene at the end of Rocky 4 where Rocky basically ended communism, so it's really hard to explain, but basically, if I can change, you can change. That's all you need, that's all you need to know from that.
All right.
So are you going to go see Creed 2 next week when it comes out? Or eventually?
I'm going to see it. Probably eventually, not next week when it comes out, but probably eventually. Need that money, man. Need money first. I don't work in theater anymore. But I am going to definitely see it as soon as possible. And, maybe come back here with you and give you another review, what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe next year when it comes to Blu-ray, we could do another pizza time for that.
We should do pasta.
I don't know, that's a little extreme, don't you think? And it would take significantly longer to make than this.
That's true. I guess we'll have to see then.
I'll just make sure we have better pizza next time we do this.
Order it next time.
Yeah. So, those are our thoughts on Creed. I'd like to thank you again for joining me on this today, Noah.
And thank you for letting me come on here and eat this lovely pizza. I loved it. And not to mention the drink, too. It was good, too.
Yeah, man. I mean, pizza time is a good time, regardless of what time of day or who you're with.
Or what pizza it is.
And I was just glad not to do this one alone.
That's true.
Yeah, so we definitely got to do this again at some point.
Absolutely.
Talk about maybe Christmas movies or something.
Get the Christmas. Ooh, I'm gonna bring candy canes.
All right.
Okay, cool.
All right. So, if you guys have seen Creed, or if your dad died and you're gonna become a boxer because of it, let me know down below, and we'll see you. You want to do it at the same time?
Okay.
So
on
on the Brockopp side.